What is going on, guys? It is Samm. Today we are back for week 3 of the Stab League. We are taking on Graham, as we mentioned at the end of last week's battle, in which we were able to defeat Samm by another 6-0. So that puts us up at the top, 2-0 plus 6, not plus 6, plus 12. That puts us in first place, and Jim is in second place, also at 2-0, but his differential is pretty low. I think it's only plus 6 or 4 or something like that. But as I mentioned, we are taking on Graham, and Graham has a really scary team. He's right in the middle here, Human Scolipede. And here, as we see, we got a Analysts, a Volcanian, a Heatran, a Weavile, a Suicune, a Celebi, Heliolisk, Tyrantrum, Tornadus T, Scolipede, and Mega Altaria. So, a couple things that jumped out at me right away are that Graham has the 2 best wall breakers in the format and probably in the game in general, Landersai and Volcanian. Of course, Hoopa Unbound is up there too, but that's actually banned in our league, so that doesn't really matter. He's also got a fast priority user in Weavile, and then he's got a very decent defensive core in Celebi, Suicune, and Heatran, and then he's got another fast threat in Tornadus T, a very versatile Mega and Mega Altaria, and then a very, very hard-hitting Tyrantrum. So Graham's team is very balanced, very scary, and pretty difficult to deal with, although I do think that I've crafted a pretty nice team to take him on this week. And without further ado, we're going to jump right into the team analysis and see what we're bringing. Here we are back with the team builder, of course, and as you can see, we brought a lot of things that we brought before and one that we have not. So, first Pokemon I needed when I saw Graham's team was Greninja, and the main reason for that is because Greninja has a lot of nice coverage for his team and is pretty fast, and we're bringing a slightly different set than we usually would bring. This is a more support variant as opposed to pure offense, as we are carrying the Focus Sash with the Protean ability, of course, a moveset of Scald, Ice Beam, U-Turn, and then Spikes. Now, Spikes is really, really cool because if you look at Graham's team, some things that we see here are Graham doesn't have any hazard removal at all. So if we want to get up our Spikes, we could get up our Spikes pretty easily. Another cool thing is we might be able to Spike versus Heliolisk because he might try to hit the Water type with the Electric move, and we could potentially get up a Spike and be immune as being potentially ground, at least temporarily. Another nice thing is outside of Landorus and Tornadus, we don't, and I guess Mega Altaria after it Mega Evolves, he doesn't really have that many Pokemon that can avoid damage from Spikes. So it'll be nice for wearing down the Volcanian, for wearing down the Heatran, for wearing down the Suicune, especially if it's like a Calm Mind variant. What else? Of course, it breaks sashes. We don't have any way to hit, Spikes don't hit Torn or Lander's Eye, but we have ways to take care of those. As you see, Scald hits most of his team. We do have to watch out for Volcanian, obviously, but that's why we've U-Turn to get out of there against it. Ice Beam is nice for the Tornadus, the Landorus, and then, like I said, Scald Ice Beam just takes care of a lot of his team. We can Ice Beam this; it'll die pretty easily. Scald on the Heatran. Volcanian, we just U-Turn out against. Weavile does not appreciate a Scald burn. Suicune, we can't really hit, but we can potentially burn it with on a switch in, and then U-Turn out. With our investment, Celebi takes a ton from U-Turn, so that's nice. Heliolisk does have dry skin, so we do have to worry about that, but we can hit with Ice Beam, and plus we can set up Spikes on this, so I'm not too worried about that. Tyrantrum will not appreciate a Scald Burn or an Ice Beam. Tornadus, even if it's a Solvis, is not going to appreciate an Ice Beam. We can burn the Scolipede, and we can burn the Altaria. I know he likes to run the Facade, but nonetheless, we can wear it down, and we can of course, potentially freeze it / kill it with the Ice Beam. So, not really worried about that. Because we're not Life Orb, we do have to be careful because we can't one-shot Altaria with Ice Beam, and it can one-shot us back with Return. So, we do have to watch out for that. But spread's pretty simple. We have a max special attack and then enough speed to outspeed a timid Tornadus. So, pretty simple set this week, but as you're going to see with a lot of our things, because he has Tornadus that's really fast at 375, we do have to run Jolly on a lot of our attackers. Next, we have Rhonda. She's coming back again. Very simple, classic low putting set with Fake Out, High Jump Kick, Return, and Ice Punch. Not a whole lot to say here. Return actually does more to Tornado than Ice Punch, so that is something to keep in mind. We can fake out to get our Mega pretty easily. High Jump Kick. High Jump Kick does a lot of damage. Ice Punch knocks out Landers. Am I missing anything else? Am I missing anything else? High Jump Kick kills Volcanion. Heatran doesn't appreciate High Jump Kick Force. Weavile will die. Suicune gets to a KO'd by either 2 high jump kicks or high jump kick plus return. Celebi, because he likes to run offensive, is not a switch into Ice Punch. Tyrantrum won't appreciate a high jump kick. And yeah, that pretty much hits most of his team. So another nice one there. Spread pretty simple, extra in HP, and then enough to outspeed a Tornado. Unfortunately, we do have to run Jolly this week to just outspeed the Torn, but Lopunny's still pretty strong, so not too big of a deal. We are bringing the first heat set of the week. We are back with our Assault Vest Emerald. Now, we ran Assault Vest last week versus Samm, but and it did put in a lot of work, but here we can actually make it a little bit more offensive while carrying that Assault Volk, and because of that is we had the set of Aqua Jet, Knockoff, Play Rough, and Power Up Punch. Now, Power Up Punch is really nice because if he brings in Helios, we potentially get +2 because we can Power Up Punch on the switch and then take out Thunderbolt, Power Up Punch, and possibly knock it out, depending on its investment. Our investment is just the classic Assault Fist with maximum attack. We do take a Thunderbolt from Helios. We do take a Sludge Wave from Tornadus. Those are pretty much the 2 attacks we got to worry about. Otherwise, we hit basically all of his team. Aqua Jet will do a lot to most things, especially at +1. I believe we just knock out a Heatran that way. Knockoff is mainly for the Celebi. What else do I have? Play Rough. Play Rough is our best way to hit Volcanion. Weavile does die to +1 Aqua Jet. Suicune doesn't appreciate getting knocked off and then getting Play Rough. Play Rough will knock out Tyrantrum pretty easily if we're not able to get the boost. Scolipede does not appreciate knockoff plus Aqua Jet. And then Mega Altaria can't knock us out in one hit, and we can knock it out with Play Rough. So another thing that... Moving on, we are breaking a debut here. Our TTM Jolteon is making its first appearance of the season. We are holding the Zap Plate for our extra electric boosts with Thunderbolt, Signal Beam, Hidden Power Ice, and Volt Switch. As you see here, Hidden Power Ice does not knock it out, unfortunately, but after some damage, I think it does like 89 min, so a little bit of damage will knock out Landorus. If he doesn't bring Landorus, as you see, we get a Volt Switch basically for free on everything. Volcanion actually just straight up dies to Thunderbolt. Heatran, he likes to bring offensive, so if it is offensive, it actually gets nearly 2 KO by Thunderbolt, which is nice. We have Signal Beam for the Weavile, but Thunderbolt does a lot more. Thunderbolt hits Suicune pretty hard, and then it's 4 times Signal Beam is super effective 4 times against Celebi. Helios we can't hit too hard, but it won't appreciate Thunderbolt, and then we can just full switch out on it. Hidden Power Ice is mainly for things like the Mega Altaria and the Tyrantrum. Again, both those things aren't going to appreciate a Zap Plate boosted Thunderbolt. Same as Scolipede, and then Thunderbolt plus HP Ice on the Mega actually just outgoes Altaria. So Jolteon is a very, very scary thing to his, thing for his team, especially if he doesn't end up bringing Landorus. So I do expect Landorus to come hands down, because I think that Landorus and Volcanion are probably 2 things on his team that are 100% going to show up in this battle. And EVs wise, 40 HP extra, max special attack, and then enough to outspeed a Jolly Weavile at 385. So another heat set, and this is probably the the most heat set I've ever brought in my life. We have Manual Sand Drill. Now, if you look at these moves, it's just Sandstorm, Iron Head, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. Now, my team isn't really hit too very hard by Stealth Rock, so I didn't feel like Rapid Spin was too necessary. He can potentially bring Toxic Spikes on his Scolipede, but I can deal with Scolipede pretty well. As I was saying, those 3 moves, Iron Head, Earthquake, Rock Slide, hit pretty much all his team for super effective or high neutral damage. Landorus won't appreciate Iron Head. Volcanion will, of course, get knocked out by Earthquake. Heatran gets knocked out by Earthquake. Weavile doesn't appreciate Iron Head. Suicune, if it's offensive, actually gets 2 killed by Earthquake, so that's nice. Celebi, we don't have really much to hit that with Excadrill specifically, but we do have other things for that. Helios gets knocked out by Earthquake. Tyrantrum gets knocked out by Earthquake or Iron Head. Rock Slide actually knocks out Tornadus. Scolipede gets knocked out by Earthquake, and then Altaria takes a Iron Head at the dome and dies. The reason I'm bringing manual sand is because he actually has two very good checks to Hippowdon. If you guys didn't know, I actually traded Tyranitar to Cam for Hippowdon, so that's no longer on our team, but we do get a little bit of bulk added to our squad as well as keeping our sand offense option open. But as I was saying, he has a lot of things that can pretty much wear down Hippowdon and pretty much make it a waste of a move slot. Like Volcanion pretty much just one-shots it with Steam Eruption. Suicune can wear it down / one-shot it. Celebi, if I have to run physically defensive, which I probably wouldn't, but either way, Hippowdon gets beat down by Graham's offense pretty well. So instead, I decided to just get a Sandstorm up manually with Excadrill. 5 turns should be enough to knock out most of his team, and plus, as I went over how many things are weak to it, we can force a switch pretty easily with that. So hopefully it works out. I'm really hoping that works out because that'd be pretty cool. Last Pokemon here is Rambo. This is our Weavile lure. So we have Colberry because knockoff won't knock us out, and then actually, did I explain my EVs? I did not explain my EVs on drill, but basically a maximum attack with enough to outspeed Jolly Volcanion, I believe. Or not Jolly, Timid Volcanion, I think. Or maybe Tyrantrum, I don't remember. But it's one of those two. We have enough speed to outspeed basically what we can. Plus, once we're in Sandstorm, it won't matter at all. But anyway, back to Victini. Special set, a lure for mainly Weavile. We also have enough coverage on our set here to hit a lot of his team. So we have Psyshock, Blue Flare, Glaciate, and Thunder. If you look at the team again, Landorus likes to take a Glaciate to the dome. We could Thunder Volcania, knock it out. Heatran, we can't really hit it, but we wouldn't stay on that regardless. Weavile, of course, gets knocked out by a Blue Flare. Thunder on the Suicune will pretty much kill it. Celebi takes a Blue Flare and dies. We get Psyshock / Blue Flare, the Heliolisk. Psyshock / Glaciate, Psyshock this / Glaciate kills it. We probably Glaciate first and then knock it out with Psyshock. Psyshock will one-hit KO the Scolipede, and then Altaria doesn't like Glaciate. But yeah, that is basically the moves on the Victini. Our set here, we have enough speed with a timid nature to outspeed a modest Landorus. If for some reason the Landorus is Scarf or it's timid, we do have an easier way to beat it. Probably going to have to be switching into Azumarill, taking a lot of damage still because Landorus with Sheer Force is still very powerful, and getting off an Aqua Jet and hopefully killing it. Like I said, we have the Colberry to bait the knockoff from the Weavile, and then we can just knock it out with Blue Flare. So that's nice there. Anyways, this is the team, and hopefully we pull out the victory with that pretty well. Leads-wise and general plan would just basically, because Jolteon and even Azumarill, if it sets up, will dominate his team. Basically get rid of his threats, being his Volcanion and his Landorus, and then go to work from there. Leads-wise, if I do not see a Landorus, I'm probably going to lead off with the Jolteon. If I do see the Landorus, probably going to be Greninja. And then if I don't see, I should say, if I see both of them, probably Lopunny. The problem is if it's Lopunny and he leads off with something like the Celebi, I don't exactly have a good switch into that, other than the Victini, which you could double back into our Landorus and then into Landorus, and then if he's timid, that would be bad. But basically, it's going to be either Lopunny or Jolteon more than likely. If he is Speed Boost thing, Scolipede, that is potentially very bad, but Excadrill can take a hit, and then we can just knock it out with Earthquake. Switch-in-wise, Excadrill, again, hits most of his team pretty hard, so we can predict the top pass, get up our Sandstorm, at least be faster, unless he gets 2 Speed Boosts. But again, we should be able to take any hit unless he gets an attack raise with that, which you can't pass both stats anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, that is going to be the basic plan. Anyway, guys, I'm Stav, and I'm